Yo, what's up, guys? It's Flopping Groper, and my last video got a ton of likes, ton of traction. So I'm gonna keep up with these Bitcoin updates for you guys because I have a lot of fun, mostly sticking to Bitcoin, especially going into inauguration. All eyes are on this thing, and so there's some things I want to talk about just so that you guys are all seeing the same things I'm seeing around the VWAPs, and we'll trade ideas, and hopefully we can decipher this election inauguration speculation volatility together. But one thing I'm really concerned about for anybody who's still in longs from this breakout from the year to date here is that we're about to get a new weekly close. And typically, or not typically, but sometimes, most of the time, when a new weekly period forms, we like to retread back to the previous weekly VWAP. And so that's this orange line here from, let me zoom in a little bit more for you guys. Now you can see that like the last weekly junction, last week was bearish, right? But when the new week spawned, there was a little bit of runoff to the downside. But once we started closing over that new weekly VWAP, we surged immediately to the previous weekly VWAP and began a completely new trend. And we flipped the year to date there. And so this is something that I'm definitely anticipating is when this Monday candle spawns in a day here. If I can put this on my chart, we got one more day here, and then potentially a little bit more run up, little more volatility before we likely correct back down a bit. And so this is why, guys, there were some people shorting like here. There's people shorting in here and stuff, but look at that black area, guys. Look at this 5-day SMA. That is a strong uptrend. Very, very strong uptrend. And so you're seeing now why shorting and bear divs don't really play out in this type of market. It's because we're in a strong uptrend. And so look, we're over the year to date in that strong 5-day trend. And so despite a massive risky meme coin launch happening, Bitcoin's doing good. And so the recent events definitely casted a weird twang on the vibes of this 5-day uptrend, but it is still a 5-day uptrend, still intact. Just be mindful, guys, that at the turn of a new week, a new weekly candle, doesn't it make sense to get some retracement back into the previous weekly candle? It definitely does. Sometimes it leads to a reversal. Sometimes it's just a little bullish bounce. Sometimes you don't get any weekly leapfrog. But this is something to consider where if we start breaking down from that new weekly VWAP here on Monday, whether it's in a day, like on Monday or Tuesday, you do have a downward target. It's this previous weekly VWAP here, coinciding with the previous month's VWAP, the FOMC VWAP, the year to date, and all that stuff. And there's also a Trump VWAP down there that I don't know why it's not on my chart. Let me set that up real quick. So if you go into Leapfrog, you can set these custom VWAPs here. So we'll put this on 1104. Boom. And that silver line there is our Trump VWAP there. So that is like some ultimate Trump bubble support. If we break the Trump VWAP at around like 93K, like after inauguration, that's not good, guys. That's like kind of a signal that like the Trump bubble might be popping. But I'm also expecting some upside volatility. So this is a crazy range, guys. We got mixed signals. We've got medium time frames, daily time frames, fanning to the upside. Like, see this 2-day and 3-day momentum wise, the momentum is picking back up for another push. But when you go up high enough, like the monthly, like look how overbought and how bearish this monthly wave looks. And so this tells me that like the next major high that we experience on Bitcoin is going to be potentially a very dangerous one. And these highs, these junctions in the markets tend to happen around the starts of weeks or the starts of months. And so think in terms of time periods. Don't get lost in the sauce and like forget what day it is, because the start of a new week, the start of a new month could spell the end for this Trump bubble, this Trump blow off top that we're about to see here. So just to give you guys a little bit more fun stuff that I've been looking at here, let me disable my leapfrog. We're going to put a VWAP on the summer low. Look at the volume from that daily candle on the summer low. the market's changed ever since that summer low there. And so we put a VWAP on that, and we're studying how Bitcoin's reacting around these volatility bands. Now, Bitcoin is still in these outer volatility bands, still in volatility mode. Now, if it loses this green line here, that's like the first level volatility band, that's about where that Trump VWAP is, right? And so this would mark a puncturing of the Trump bubble in my eyes. And so like this 92K level is like a very important level for Bitcoin to hold, to maintain this like high volatility status that it has. And this is happening. Bitcoin is so volatile in doing this because look at that monthly momentum. It's so high. It's like 82. And so yes, it is bearish, it is overbought, but you got to remember that the train is still going at like full speed. It hasn't actually hit a barricade yet. But when it does hit a barricade, typically with these red dots, like I've said in my previous videos, you'll get a 30% crash from these red dots here from the high. So like the highs here, you get that red dot, and look, we're already dumping like 40-50%. Like it's crazy red candles as insiders and whales and big movers start taking profits first, and then that spooks the other investors. You're not going to see like the signs until it's too late, basically. And so this is a time in Bitcoin's life where like taking profits actually makes sense because you're simply overbought. And so oscillators, sentiment, all these things are quite bearish. Like my sentiment read is quite bearish, guys. I think that the market is very euphoric. The greed feels very high. The denial that things could change is very high. Like nobody wants the bull market to end in the next week or so. And there is something bullish running up through the time frames. Like look at this weekly VWAP oscillator clipping to the upside. This weekly time frame does look like it wants to turn back up. And so like we're definitely going to get some Trump volatility. But the problem is that like as time goes on, as the weeks go on, we're still going to be facing these same oscillator issues. And so it's going to be an ongoing problem until big sellers start coming online, and then we'll really know what's going on here. But for the time being, guys, we've got strong Trump VWAP support here. The VWAP from this election day. Good, strong support, achieved a high level of volatility, breaking that level 1 band there. And so it is possible we get some nice price discovery around the inauguration, but it's not like guaranteed. Like when this new week begins, that very well could be a top. And I just wanted to put this video out for you guys now to say that like when a new week begins, be careful of at least a little local top here. A retread back to that previous week's VWAP, guys. End of the week's always a good time to shave some profits. Same with end of the month as well. But that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So smash the like, subscribe. You guys have a good one.